Greetings, this is Michael W. Ford. I want to take a few minutes and discuss something about my works, Luciferianism, and clear up perhaps some confusion or perhaps even misconception about the subtleties and the very core driving essence, if you will, of the Luciferian tradition. To understand fully, I've seen a few ask or make a comment that they understand my works have a lot of ceremonial ritual magic. It is a grimoire, but the foundation, if you will, of the works really goes far deeper than that. And I would not like to see people casually overlooking it for the importance and the key points of Luciferianism. What is this philosophy? You have to understand, in the 1990s, during my early initiation, the term Luciferian was basically a reference to a Satanist or some abstraction or fantasy from the 15th century or something else. As I initiated and by struggle, by mistakes, by going forward no matter what, developing all these points which kind of reached back into ancient religions and the ethos of those pre-Christian religions: strength, conquering your obstacles, seeking a good life, also having a spiritual side to balance out with the pragmatic or rational side. All of these things really started to evolve, and through my work with the grimoires and the writings of Charles Pace, who defined modern Luciferian in the terms that I would carry it on with, there's something that sets it uniquely apart of other left-hand path conceptualizations or schools of thought. That doesn't mean it's special. It doesn't mean it's unique or new. Nothing anybody really does now is new. It's always invigorated with some new form of artistic expression or point of view or type of manifestation of ideas, evolved or degraded. But there's a philosophy which is parallel and in harmony with many other left-hand path traditions. What I found as a Luciferian who practiced and still is a practicing ceremonial magician, that there are different levels to practicing magic, and they're not all in a ceremonial setting. It all begins with one of the strongest things in my works from the year 2007 or 8 on. And you'll find this in Dragon with Two Flames, Sabeti, the anniversary edition of Bible of the Adversary, Goetia of Shadows, Sabeti, Apotheosis, all of my works, because they're journeys, they're in base records, but they go much beyond that. It's the philosophy. It's not just a philosophy to sit around, think about, and go online and, hey, that looks Luciferian, or hey, I'm a Luciferian, until you have a real problem in life, some misfortune or some issue comes up, and then your principles, your philosophy and practice is put to the test. And nobody sees that. That's when you start to define who you are. Not under the category of Luciferian, but as an individual. I'm talking about the left-hand path Luciferian as the one who shapes, changes, and conquers their course in life, barring accidents or so forth. One thing about apotheosis, and it's not a major ceremonial grimoire, all of my works have kind of three parts to them. And the first is the philosophy, defining what is Luciferian in not only theory, practice, and the flexibility to adapt. Also embracing parallel or other traditions that have inspired and passed the spirit on to carry on in this tradition. It's a balancing act in a sense, because the philosophy is not just, hey, this is what I believe. It's not a rehash, a regurgitation of the basic foundations Anton LaVey put forth. It's taking that and enhancing and expanding in an area that was very unique and life-changing for me. And so fleshing out and defining the philosophy is itself the foundation for initiation. It begins with applying each of these points, the 11 points of power, adapting them to the way you think, the way you act, how you interact, who you interact with, and how that affects life. It's difficult, it's a challenge, but it's highly rewarding. And it really tests the spirit. Are you really left-hand path? Beyond the imagery of this or that, or the symbols you wear, or what you tell people, or the music you like, is take all that away. And are you a living embodiment of the Luciferian spirit? How are you enhancing and illuminating the black flame? Apotheosis, the book, is an introduction, but it's got, like all my other books, really three parts. And the first is the foundation philosophy, approaching it from this perspective, applying it in daily life. And then the historical aspect of different pantheons, different traditions that were reinvigorating in the grimoires, honoring those spirits or those archetypes, deities, deific mask, whether you believe, whether you're polytheistic or atheistic or theistic, it doesn't matter. That foundation is there to explore and to use your imagination and recognize how the traits of all of those deific masks, the demons, the deities, spirits, the symbols, archetypes, that all of those possess and embody specific types of energy and traits and character points to model oneself on. So a Luciferian would reject the concept or symbol of Jesus because the philosophy is totally alien to a Luciferian. Never turn your cheek if someone does something wrong to you. you have to decide. You have a choice. Either you defend yourself, you make things right, or you find a more middle of the road, strategic way of overcoming that obstacle. All within legal confines, so you're not put in prison, so you can live in within our social contract, but still understanding that your thought, that you have the conscious individuality to break out of the norms, the stereotypes, and the training, the kind of bumbling through life that most people do. You are aware. So that's a continually shaping and sharpening tool. So apotheosis is really about presenting not ceremonial magic. That's a part if you want that. But the magic begins within your mind and how you apply it in life, in your course, every day. The triad of the morning star, apotheosis, which is liberation, illumination. It's a cycle that you begin and you put momentum into and energy to then unveil those magical events in your life, both in a spiritual sense and in terms of evolution, seeking your perception of, or what you perceive as to be self-excellence, the hidden God, the inner potential that you visualize. It is a spiritual practice. It's not negative or destructive, but embracing the darkness, the demonic, to then embrace that to fuel the kind of divine messenger or deity that you have within your consciousness, within your psyche, to evolve that and that awareness. And understand you're never going to have all the answers. You take concepts, and if they agree with you, if they suit you, you apply them in the principles that I've utilized and present. Will, desire, belief, all of these practices to really strengthen the mind and go forward. So Luciferianism is not just whatever you kind of think it is. It's about a philosophy, and the 11 points of power kind of put all that together in a public sense for initiates, black adepts, to take, apply, adapt uniquely, but still having that core of what motivates you and what changes and what energy is passed between you, the dynamic between the philosophy, you applying it. It's this continual buildup of energy, or potentially an ebb or a time of stasis at some points in life. But that is what each grimoire, each book presents. There's a lot of ciphers and a lot of veils within these. And something that I put my blood, my spirit, my soul into, along with the patron spirits and kind of deific mask that I've long been dedicated to in a mutual beneficial honoring structure. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing individuals applying Luciferianism in a practical way, not just arguing, but applying it in life when it's difficult, and conquering and opening that gateway for the black flame and the Luciferian spirit. Good evening.